welcome to my channel. And yeah, armies, I am so stoked. I am so stoked to check this interview out because this is something that I did not expect, like one of the most unexpected drops. This is Namjoon and Pharrell. They talk producing their upcoming collab. I lost it when I saw that. I lost it when I saw that and more. So musicians on musicians, this is by Rolling Stone, and this, thank you. Rolling Stone, thank you for making this happen. I cannot believe. So I think Namjoon's album is going to be the next release, and I don't know when it's happening. Maybe end of this year, I think. But the fact that there's going to be a song with Pharrell featuring on it, I don't know if the collaboration is like Pharrell featuring on Namjoon's album or is it the other way around, Namjoon featuring on Pharrell's song. So I don't know. We'll see what is happening. This is like a 23-minute interview, and I just want to see them. I want to geek out on music. I want to see them talk about songwriting process and stuff like that. So I know it's not just entertainment. I feel this is going to be very educational also. And as an army, I want nothing more than to see Namjoon, who is also my bias, to see him just talk about music, and to see him talk about things that he's passionate about. So yeah, let us begin.
I'm not sure if you remember it or not, but we've met at
of course,
Billboard Music Awards in 2018.
Yeah, look at Namjoon's shoes.
We took a photo together.
I wanted to work then.
Dude, I'm so happy. I'm so happy for this. Musicians on musicians.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me
as well.
I think that there's a huge benefit in writing and producing for other people. I'm pretty sure you may feel that way as well, but it allows me to go to places that I wouldn't go for myself. And as much as it feels like, I may know what I'm doing when I'm doing songs that I'm, featured as a solo artist, some people know, but most people don't know that all of my solo efforts have always been songs that I have written and produced for other people. In fact, when I try to write songs for myself or produce songs for myself, they always are too complex and seem much more like a puzzle than they do, a jam, like a bop. But I do those for other people. So for me, oftentimes my best stuff is the stuff that I poach back for myself. I don't know how it is for you.
In 2005, I was just an elementary school kid, and I just wanted to be a rapper. As I got to know what's rap, it's basically it's rhythm and poetry. I really felt attracted for this whole genre to
send
the messages to the world. Actually, it's really
once again, just happy to see some texture on his skin. So rare, so rare.
Answer about all this in front of my idol, but for me it's really more comfy to mostly for me I write somebody's lyrics or the melodies for other artists, not as many as you, but it feels like it gives me another avatars and characters.
Yes.
So when it comes to me, it's a complex, and it always comes with the pain, to confess. But it's still
I can understand that
part for me.
I can relate to that. I think the pain part for me is probably the fun part, because that's like some of the most vivid paint that we can use as artists when we're like filling in what we want to be a powerful verse. It's like, okay, does it hurt enough? Or does it feel good enough?
True.
So I understand you there when you say, you inject the pain in your verses. To make sure that's like, they're strong.
And this was a similar question that Sakshma had asked Yoongi when they did the interview. Like, she did the interview with BTS, that you have to go back when you're writing, you have to go back and relive all that pain. But that's essential. I feel that is why it probably is more difficult to kind of write for yourself, because you are writing your truth, and to pen it down and to confess, like Namjoon said, just to confess yourself and your truth, there's a lot of pain that you have to inflict upon yourself, and that's not always easy.
I agree.
I was wondering the creative process, how it's different for you yourself, like In My Mind or Girl, or between the songs you made for the others, like the singers or the rappers, or like clips, grinding, of course. I just wonder the difference, from the scratch.
So when an artist walks in, they ask for something.
Like a track or a idea.
They'll say, I just want something hard, or I want something darker, or I want, something that's like for the club, like,
banger.
You know what I'm saying? A banger, like. And so I'm considering what they're looking for, but I'm also thinking about like the texture of their voice and the patterns and the melodies that they do usually. Then I think about how I can give them something very different than they've ever done before. And so when you mix all of that together, a lot of times, an artist will say, man, that's a little different for me or whatever.
Right.
And then I'll go ahead and reference it and, sell it to someone else. And then like oftentimes that same person will come back to me and say, man, why didn't you play me that? And I'm like, I did play you that, but they weren't hearing it in that way.
Wow, that's the fun part.
Yeah, that's the fun part. But then there are people who jump out the window and they go ahead and try it. Because my whole thing is just try it. We don't have to put it out.
Right.
But, people are so good at what they do. Sometimes they're afraid to explore different parts of their voice, different parts of their personality, and different parts of their career. So, they're a little like hesitant. But for the ones that do try it, they get to experience something new. And look, if we decide at the end of the day it's just not right for them, it's not right for them.
Correct.
But you got to hear a different side. That's my favorite part of writing and producing for other people.
Like a challenging.
Yeah.
Like, so here comes another thing.
Okay.
I started to listen to music. I mean, like the hip hop music in 2005. I started with the Nas and Eminem.
Okay.
Of course, the classics.
Yeah.
But as I get to know you, when I first listened to your song, especially, I just want to point out "Take It Off," because that's my playlist, one of the playlists.
Whoa.
So
That's crazy.
when I listened to it, I even translated it into Korean, and I just recorded once when I was I'm amateur.
Whoa.
So when I listen to it, I just always been wanting to have the frequency, like because you always cross over this. These days, genre doesn't mean anything, but I think at that time, was like some rappers really criticize the rappers who sing or use the autotunes.
Right.
But I don't know. You started your career as a producer, or so you're like very natural for that. But I always wanted to have the frequency like you. Like it sometimes it's just singing. It could be falsetto. Sometimes you rap. Sometimes you just sang the hook for the other artists, like Snoop Dogg. And so how do you position yourself when you participate in the song as a player? Like,
wow. First of all, these are great questions.
I was just gonna say that. What a great question, and I'm really curious to know Pharrell's answer, because that is a great question, guys.
Never asked me that, believe it or not. Like, no, I've never had a journalist ever ask me that.
That really matters to me.
So, and that's like no cap. Like you,
he's impressed.
Not, no one's, and it sounds like they could have, and because it's such an obvious question, but no one's ever asked me that. So I'm blown away by that. Everything I make decisions based off of feeling. I don't make them based off of convention.
I gotta rap. I gotta sing.
Yeah, it's just whatever it feels like it needs.
Right.
And I'm gonna channel it as best as I can, because I'm trying to tell somebody else who's gonna be better than me to do it. And oftentimes what will happen was artists will be like, nah, we want you to stay on there. And I'll be like, no, but it's for this person. But I channel what I feel like is missing. And I forget that it's gonna be me, because if I think that it's gonna be me, then it won't be as good and I won't be as confident. I'm only confident knowing that I am giving the instruction and the directives to someone else. Like, for example, there's a record that I did with Mystical a long time ago called
Mystical.
Wow. Yeah, Shake Your Ass, right? Ooh. So when I did that record, I was thinking like, writing wise, Chad and I produced it together. But when I was writing that hook, I was pretending that like Eddie Kendricks from the Temptations could do it. And I remember saying to them, "Oh man, we're gonna get like, we're gonna get the guy from the Temptations to do it." And they were like, "Nah, the record company wants you to stay on there." I was like, "Wait, what?" So it was like this weird thing where like I started to realize that was my sweet spot, is when I channel other people and I surrender to what the music needs and not let my ego or my feelings get involved.
That's that's the core of every, I feel that should be the core of every songwriter or a musician in general, that you need to really surrender yourself to what the music needs, like what the song has to be, what the song actually, what kind of message you want to send via the song. And that's why I always appreciate, in case of BTS, the line distribution. A lot of people have criticized the line distribution, have seen that, but I have seen BTS talk about line distribution also, and they said the exact same thing. They just, all of them sing the different parts, and then they see which person is actually, which member is getting the exact emotion out of that particular verse, and that's how they decide how they want to structure the song and who is going to sing which part or who is going to rap which part. So Pharrell also spoke in similar lines, so I think that would be very much relatable to Namjoon here.
Make better decisions, whether it's going to be me on the song at the end of the day or not, or another artist. I filled in the blank and given them a different feeling. And sometimes I would be sharp, when I'm singing on there, but it just felt good, and we would just leave it.
So I'm not sure if you remember it or not, but we've met at
of course,
Billboard Music Awards.
Yes, of
in
course.
2018.
Yeah,
do you remember?
We took a photo.
We took a photo together.
I wanted to work then, but I didn't want to be aggressive. So I was like, let's just take a photo. But
you were nice.
But I really wanted to. I was like, yo, let's leave. I think we took a photo backstage.
Yeah, backstage in your room, actually.
Yeah, and then like I was working in a studio not too far off, and I really wanted to be like, yo, fuck all of this. No, you know what? Let me correct this, because I don't want your fan base to be mad at me using this kind of language.
It's okay. We won't be mad. Wow, don't make us look like, we are some savages who will come for your neck. We're not. We're really not. Like, majority of us are not like that. There is a minority which is also part of the fandom who probably are like that, but majority are not like that.
Man, I was like, I wanted to be like, listen, let's leave here right now and go make some great music, because I just loved everything that you guys were doing. I love your energy, and I love what it is that you represent, at such a time when, our Asian brothers and sisters and, fellow Asian human beings that maybe don't identify necessarily binarily, in a binary way, the Asian community just been going through so much
these days,
and
gradually more and more.
The Asian community has given me so much, and I really feel like y'all's energy, you're also showing like artist not just like not just in one specific genre.
Right.
But I think you're just like also showing people that like you don't have to be, you can be humble. You guys, your energy is there's a lot of humility that you all bring.
Yeah, that's what attracts me to them the most.
What people don't realize is like when you have, literally, hundreds of millions of fans, and you encounter them, 20 and 50 and 100,000 at a time.
Can't notice a single face, It's just a mess.
It's
MAS. That's not a.
It's a mass.
It's a mass,
and it is a massive voice, and it is a massive, using that word mass. It is a massive energy coming at you, and you say jump,
and then they jump,
and you sing, and they sing every word.
Right.
And you know that you can feel through their voices that so many of their lives have been affected and changed because of something that you've done.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
don't
Yeah.
know
I
how
only
you.
believe.
I don't know.
He's just hitting the bullseye. When Pharrell is saying that, he's completely hitting the bullseye, and they really have, like, just the way, I have always said this in previous BTS reactions, like the way their music moved me. I was shook. Like, I listened to music a lot, but the way there was just something that cannot be explained. To be very honest, guys, that cannot be explained. It's just that even now when I play a song, say like, even in fact yesterday I was walking and I was playing Awake, like in my playlist Jin's song Awake started playing, and I don't know, I just stopped for a moment, and it just went blank for some reason. I don't know what happened, and I just smiled to myself and started walking again. It was just weird, but it happened. So the certain things you can't explain.
Know how you do that, because I've had a couple songs do that, and then when I get out there and go sing it, that would make me cry because it was too much of a responsibility. Every time I get that close to that size and what I do as a musician, I always step back.
Oh, why? It's like, is it too heavy? It's like,
It's too heavy, man.
too much?
It's too much of a responsibility. That's why I really revere people like yourself and your band members and other artists like B and J, and like, man, what y'all go out there and go face every night on that stage. It is humbling and it's overwhelming, and sometimes your nervous system got to be built for that.
Of course.
Let me
Yeah.
ask you this: how do you deal after you come off the stage feeling electrified and shocked every night? How do you decompress, or do you decompress, or do you purge? Like, how do you do that?
It's, my first performing was in front of like 10 people in some small clubs when I was like 15.
Okay.
And I like forgot most of the lyrics. So at that time I just realized that, I'm not a star type. I'm not like these like a front man and could enjoy all this shit and
End
just,
up being a
like
leader.
Kurt Cobain or
Yeah.
Mick Jagger. I'm not that type of. I'm just a human, just who loves writing music and just the energy. So every night, like for example, we had these stadium shows in Las Vegas last April.
Yeah.
It was 4, but like every night is a challenge. It's like same set list. It's like maybe the same flow, sort of type, little different, but just like you said, that moment, like after we finished the first 3 beginning songs, and then we, take out the earphones,
Yeah.
and then we just like,
Yeah.
we're fucking back. It's like that's like everybody shouting out. And that
He took a moment before swearing. Now, June, it's okay. The way you have sweared in the concerts, it's fine. I mean, nobody's judging you now.
moment, that's when I really gets all the nerves and like there's a different me persona for the next 2.5 hours. But before that, from the rehearsal and even in the plane, I got really nervous and like so responsible, because I really am aware of the stories that fans buy the tickets and they come from Brazil, from Japan, Korea, like from everywhere. They just come there for just that one night. So it feels me like I have to pay back. I have to I have to offer them the best night ever in their lives. So it's a mess, and it's a too much energy. But I'm a human, and I really get nervous, and I really sometimes get depressed and even get swallowed by all the energies. But I'm trying, and I try to deal with it, because I'm a human and I love the music. I love their love, because I think love is really happening when we give somebody, not we receive. Yeah, we take.
Yeah.
So I think it's more closer to the real love, I guess, personally. So I just want to give them back. You know, they brought us from just a small city in Korea all the way back to the heart of this music industry,
Yeah.
Las Vegas, L.A., New York. You know, me having an interview with Pharrell, it could happen because of fans all over the world. I'm just always grateful, and I just don't want to disappoint them. How do you position yourself? Like, you're a producer, yeah, you may be a rapper, you may be a singer,
Yeah.
you may be a CEO,
Yeah.
father,
Yeah.
a husband.
Yeah.
Like, what's like, I'm for, of course, the name Pharrell explains everything, but like, but except that, how will you define yourself? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I'm a public servant first.
public servant.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that word.
Yeah.
And the first time I'm kind of impressed with Pharrell's answer because I did not expect him, like any musician, to kind of say that, you're a public servant. Usually they say I'm a performer and I'm this and that, but that's actually a very different and a nice way to look at it.
When you serve the public, you're doing it's what
Something for public.
Yeah, and that's God's will.
Yeah.
I'm a believer.
Oh, you believe it.
Yeah, I believe the universe is real. For me, God.
But Namjoon doesn't believe in God. He's an atheist, right?
And then again, being a public servant, being, a father, a husband, and then music is like everything for me because music's the skeleton key that's opened up every door.
Still music.
Yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
symbol of everything because
Voice.
without that, I wasn't able to do all the stuff that I'm able to do. And
Right.
I definitely have my struggles with having a lack of a sense of purpose, I think.
Okay.
When? Like,
Right around 2005, when I put out In My Mind.
In My Mind.
I just felt like,
after
man,
that? Right after that?
as soon as it didn't do what I wanted it to do, I mean, culturally, it made an impression, but it didn't do it egotistically. It didn't perform the way I wanted it to, chart-wise. Like, it just didn't do what I was used to at that time, and that really hit me hard. So that made me start to think about, like, purpose and things having real, true DNA and not just aesthetic perversion, but, like, real, true, like, meaning and something that could be meaningful to people, but at the same time still fun. And I've always loved the girl, so that was always going to be a part of it. But so I understand what that is. I know what it's like to hit that place in your career, and for whatever reason, and you guys are doing fine. But I think, from what I'm hearing and what I'm understanding, you guys hit a place where you were like, what are we doing? Who are we? Are we who we said we were?
Right.
And as you think about who you are and you think about what you mean and what your intentions are, it's like also kind of determining who you want to be. I mean, how's that feel? Like, where are you in that process right now? Because you're working on a solo record, right?
Yes, like 90% of the work is done.
Okay.
I've released some mixtape as a one of the member of the band, but I think it was just like experiments. I think this time it's maybe my official first solo album
Okay.
that I could feel enough.
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
it's gonna be like I don't know if I would feel like you after In My Mind or not, but I think it'll happen after when I release it.
Yeah.
So I'm just dependent on the time, but it's been just like 10 years after we had our debut as a team. So K-pop is all about the band and the groups. And actually, I told you, I personally started my career as a rapper.
Right.
And
As a
as a
hip hop
poet.
artist.
Yeah.
So that was a tricky part actually, because the K-pop is like a mix.
Yeah.
It's like the mix of American pop music, all the visuals and the choreos and social medias and stuff. It's really intense and really hectic. So it has some pros and cons of its own. So after 10 years, I think it was not our intention, but we took it. But we actually became a sort of a social figure. So a K-pop band going to have a speech at the UN, or meeting the presidents. It's like
Unthinkable. Kind
I
of.
think I was really confused that I'm what am I, like a diplomat or what? So
Right.
I was just like a
No,
small
that confusion
rapper
is
in there
valid.
since, when I was young,
Yeah.
like from the scratch. So it was 10 years really intense as a team, and I actually was in charge like almost all of the interviews, and
Right.
representing the team like in front of the other members. That was my stuff, I guess, role.
Yeah.
So I think I got really
Tired.
I don't know, like
He wanted to say
no,
tired.
I gotta stop this for
He was about to say tired. If you listened carefully, he was about to say tired, but that's okay. I completely understand. It is tiring. Oh my god, it is so exhausting to be a leader, man. I cannot even imagine the kind of pressure that Namjoon had to individually go through to really keep himself put together and take all the flack, because if anything happens to the group, he was the one to take all the flack first, because he has to represent the group and he has to really be the bridge between the company and the members. So yeah.
for a bit.
Yeah.
I gotta shut it down.
Yeah.
And just fall from it away, and then just see what's going on.
Right.
Making my mind really calm down.
Yeah.
And then I think so that's how I got to
Fatigue.
concentrate on my just solo. And these days I really have been thinking about the 15 when I first listened to you. The first feeling and the vibe and the reason why I started, why I chose music to
Right.
for my whole life, I guess. So yeah, when I started my music, I was like 14, and now I'm like 28. So it's like just the half. It's like it's like way shorter than you. So I'm in that process. So it's really tricky and confusing, and I just don't know what's going to happen. So if you could give me any advices, because you were in the band and you are in the band, and you done the band. It's different from the K-pop, but you've done a lot of projects, like of course NERD, Neptunes, and of course your solo.
Yeah.
So like
It's great to see him
thoughts about
asking for advice.
Being
I want to see what he says.
Being in NERD and having a solo record really helped me, because it you do one thing, then you take a break. You do another thing, then you take a break. You do another thing, then
Switch
you take
modes.
a break. Yeah, and it allows me to like put on different hats and put on different masks. So I understand that, and I know like having that departure is going to make it really fresh for you.
Yeah.
I think it's good for you to do that, because then when you come back to it, to the group,
team.
yeah, I think it's going to be, to the team, I think it's going to be super fresh. You're going to have a whole lot of ideas.
Correct.
I would just say continue to move forward, continue to be curious, and don't put any kind of necessary pressure on what it is that you do by saying, no absolutes, like, oh, I will never do music again, or I will never, I wouldn't do any of that. I would just...
No nevers.
No nevers. Just stay along for the ride.
No nevers.
Just keep going.
That's
cruising.
Yeah, and just see where you end up, because it's really interesting.
Thank you. Always a plus.
Pleasure's mine.
no, never. Wow, this was so enriching. I don't know. It was kind of... It's done. It was enriching, and it was very educational in the sense that he really you kind of know what Namjoon has been going through, because if you start seeing from the Festa videos, whatever he has said now in lives and what we lives and all of that, you kind of understand what he's going through. But then now that he's saying it, that he felt tired. He did not use the word tired. He knows the weight of his words, but can make out what he's saying. But then I get it. To be very honest, I get it. And it's not a crime to admit that you are tired. I don't know why, because in Festa video also, when they were talking about like doing solo projects and taking some time off to just reflect and rejuvenate and recharge, he apologized. And I am thinking that why the hell are you apologizing for this? You shouldn't be apologizing. This is, I mean, like he said, he's a human being. And I like the part where he talks about that when Pharrell asked, like, what do you, where are you in your headspace? So he's saying that, okay, I've been doing this for 10 years, and then I started as a rapper, someone, you know, who loves to write poetry, and then I'm meeting the president, and I'm going and giving a speech to in the UN. So what am I? Am I a diplomat? And it just fits so much with his song persona, because he has to put in that role and he has to do it, because now the BTS is a brand. So I mean, and he has a contractual obligation with the company. So I completely understand that dilemma which is going on, and him feeling exhausted, and not just him, all the other members kind of feeling exhausted. And I like what Pharrell said, that just no nevers. Never put a stop to the thinking that you're never going to do a particular thing, because at that moment it might feel that, okay, this is not going to happen and I'm over it. But just cruise along and see what life is throwing at you, because you don't know what wonders or what gems might come out of it. So no nevers. I really like that advice that Pharrell gave. And very, very wholesome conversation. I think when two such gifted artists talk together, this is what I want to see happen in the music industry. When two gifted artists, when we talk about collabs, and I just, with BTS, most of the time I've felt that the collaborations have been very generic and genuine. That is why I end up loving. I don't think I've ever not liked a collab, except maybe On, which features Sia. That just did not feel very genuine. But all other, like when, you know, Halsey featured with them, you know, Charlie Puth, Coldplay, these felt so genuine and just so real, just so real. You know, Megan Thee Stallion, everything felt real. And now with just seeing this conversation between Namjoon and Pharrell, and you know, collaboration which will happen and which we'll get to witness eventually soon, it just makes me feel that this is what I want to see in music. This was enriching to watch, not just because I'm a fan of the music, but just two musicians talking it out and you know, understanding their perspective, because it's very interesting, because both the artists come from absolutely different cultures and backgrounds. So one would have a different set of opinion, another would have a different set of opinion, and what binds them together is the power of music. It's because of music that this thing has happened, right? So this was a conversation which was extremely educational and enriching, and also made me respect both the artists even more, because then you understand that, yeah, I mean, they have that fame and everything and all of that, and there would be a set of people saying that, oh, this is all for show, and this is all, you know, because they want to promote their upcoming collab. That is why this is happening. So they're going to put their best foot forward. I mean, what are you expecting? Celebrities not putting their best foot forward. When I am also recording, I am putting my happiest self forward, but nobody knows what is going inside like my head. I might be going through something very shitty, but when I'm recording, I'm not gonna come on camera and crib about it, right? So that's the thing. Every time we are talking something on a public platform, putting up our pictures or anything, like everybody in this world, when you're making yourself public in terms of doing a reaction video, sharing a photograph, you are going to put your best self forward. So just blaming the celebrity culture for that, I mean, I find that very much ridiculous, to be very honest. So yeah, thank you Rolling Stone for making this happen. I'm going to look forward to Namjoon's solo album as well as the collab which is going to happen eventually. Very, very, very excited. I want to know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Just so good to see these two artists talk. And yeah, that was the reaction. Those were my thoughts, and I'm gonna sign off from this video now, and I'll see you soon on my next one. Bye. You are the cause of my euphoria.